Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist, that's a CBT therapist, and a licensed mental health counselor. This is for entertainment purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders that took place on the 13th of November 2022. May the 4 victims rest in peace, and may Hannah Cleere rest in peace too. Condolence to all the families. Hannah Cleere was a student in Idaho, Moscow, who died on the 24th of February. Her body was found on the 27th of February. That is 3 days later. Hannah shared a dorm with Madison Morgan, one of the 4 victims in the Idaho Moscow, was found unalived in Kings Road, 1122 Kings Road. Although Hannah Cleere's father says that he doesn't believe there was any foul play, I have questions. It doesn't sit right with me that somebody passed away on the 24th of February 2022 and was found 3 days later. If Hannah shared a dorm with Madison and other girls, how come nobody noticed that one of the students was dead? Allegedly, it's been said that Hannah Cleere was bullied by Madison Morgan. Condolence to both of them and their families. May they rest in peace. When it comes to the quadruple murders that happened in Idaho, Moscow, I believe a motive is really important. Although it's not important in the court of laws, I still believe that there has to be a proper motive for 4 young students to be brutally murdered. For me, it sounds more like a revenge killing. So I want to dig deeper into Hannah Cleere's case, but unfortunately, there isn't much there out there. University of Idaho, English student passes away. A junior student from Provo died over the weekend. A University of Idaho student passed away this weekend, according to an email from the Dean of Students, Blaine Eccles, earlier today. Hannah Cleere, originally from Provo, Utah, died in Moscow over the weekend. A junior at University of Idaho, Cleere studied English literature. I remember hearing that she wanted to be a library teacher, a worker. As a community, we collectively mourn the loss of Hannah and share our sincere condolence with the family and friends who are impacted by her passing, Eccles stated in the email. That's the dean of the university. Students impacted and in need of assistance during this time can contact the Counseling and Teaching Center. The number's written there. If you are concerned about a student, faculty or staff member and are unsure of what to do, encourage you to file a vandal care report. This was what somebody wrote I think on Facebook. You deserved everything that happened to you, especially after what you did to that poor girl. You elites are the same. I'll be reserving my spit once they properly bury you. Now that is an awful thing to say, and that really caught my attention. What was really going on in the University of Idaho, Moscow, for people to be writing such things? Was Hannah bullied to death? Hannah was found 3 days later in her dorm, dead. I believe there's more to this story with Hannah Cleere than just the fact that she overdosed herself. The reason I say that is, let's not forget, these are university students. If you are sharing a dorm, how come nobody found you dead? I grew up in a boarding school and I lived in a dorm. Usually there are many people who share a dorm. How come our teachers didn't notice or report Hannah missing? Because she was allegedly a very active, intelligent student. How come nobody noticed Hannah dead? Was this a cover-up? Could the quadruple murders be connected to Hannah Cleare's death? Was this revenge? Maybe from her family? Maybe from her friends? Because what is strange is Hannah died on the 24th of February. She was found on the 27th, 3 days later. And what is even more stranger is that the quadruple murders happened on the 13th and Hannah's birthday was on the 15th of November. Let's remember that the knife sheet that allegedly had the touch DNA of Brian Christopher Koberger was near Maddie. So let's say whoever did the unliving could have started with Maddie. And Maddie is involved in Hannah Cleare's death, according to the students. So could someone have harmed Maddie due to Hannah Cleare's death? Could that be the motive? I wonder if this person is a close friend of Hannah Cleare, who wrote this awful comment. It seems like the students know about Hannah Cleare's death and everyone's keeping silent. This comment was written by another student, not saying anyone deserves what happened, but you can see in the food truck video the way Maddie just kind of plows through the group of three like they don't even exist, and then starts trying to grab other people's food. She definitely didn't have manners. Yeah, you can say, but she was drunk, but my opinion is people's true colors show when they're drunk. I personally don't agree with this comment, because when somebody is drunk or intoxicated, obviously they do things that they don't think of. Jovito clearly said that Maddie was just joking around trying to take everyone's food. So that doesn't show someone's real characters and behavior because they're intoxicated. You can judge a person who's sober, and I'm not making an excuse for people who are intoxicated. It could be possible that Maddie has behavior patterns that offend other people. But I wouldn't judge her from the grub truck video because Maddie was out of it. I always say I believe somebody gave Maddie a roofie in the corner club. And then we saw number 9, I personally believe, putting something in Maddie's mouth. I believe that all 4 victims were targeted, all 4 victims. I don't believe it was 2 or 1, like the police said. I believe Xana and Ethan were targeted by the Sigma Chi boys, allegedly. But I believe that Maddie was more personal because the unliving started with Maddie. That is important to see. It's important to think about who was the first victim and who got it most brutally. We heard that Kaylee got more injuries, but that is according to her father Steve. So we don't know, and we shouldn't take that into proper consideration because the police haven't said that. I wonder if everybody who had some kind of beef with the 4 students pre-planned this all together to harm all 4 students. I wonder if Hannah Cleare's brothers were the 2 men I saw at the grub truck. The one with the brown jacket who allegedly threw away his food, and the one with the glasses, because they did not look like they belonged to the college. It's strange that the quadruples happened one day before Hannah Cleare's birthday. Hannah Cleare has a lot of cousins, a large family. She has brothers too. So I wonder if her family was involved, although the father says that there wasn't foul play. Obviously, the father wouldn't know if his son was involved. His son could have kept it away from him. And allegedly, I heard rumors that Hannah Cleare, his brother, was seen driving that day in Idaho, Moscow. To clarify, Hannah Cleare took her life in February. Apparently, she shared a dorm with one of the victims and got bullied. Her birthday was on the 15th of November. So if Hannah Cleare got bullied, is that the reason nobody noticed that she was dead until 3 days later? Or, no, okay. To clarify, Hannah Cleare took her life in February. Apparently, she shared a dorm with one of the victims and got bullied. Her birthday was on the 15th of November. If she was found dead 3 days later, that could really upset her brothers, her friends, her family. Somebody could have clearly took revenge. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. I wouldn't have done that. But I can see a reason and a motive for revenge over here, more than anything. And Maddie was the first victim. Let's not forget that. It's heartbreaking that this poor girl's body was found 3 days later. I wish that she had someone to talk to, but I'm sure she was scared. What did Hannah know that drove people to bully her so much? Did Hannah see something that she wasn't supposed to see? Was Hannah bullied because she didn't have the typical descriptions of sorority girls? Blonde, beautiful, tall, thin. Just saying. I personally believe Hannah saw something she wasn't supposed to see, and somebody got scared that she would tell on them. They must have pushed this little girl to find no other way out. Because imagine, this is just an example. If Hannah saw someone dealing illegal substance like drugs, selling drugs, or weapons or anything, because that happens in the Greek lifestyle, I'm sure whoever she saw doing that would have been really scared of her reporting them to the authority or to the university. So they must have poisoned her, they must have overdosed her, or they must have pushed her to her own death, that she overdosed herself. How often do you hear of people being overdosed on sleeping tablets that is over the counter? That hardly happens. It does happen unless she took too much of it. But something happened to Hannah to lead her to her death. This is a young, smart, intelligent girl who wanted to be a library teacher. Now that is was Hannah put in a position that she couldn't get herself out of? And if that was the case, although her father says there's no foul play, although the university says there's no foul play, I really do not trust what the college and the university says. I'm being honest, I do not. Look at that young boy, Hudson. Hudson was found dead in the creek. The other boy from 2012 was found dead in the creek. The 4 students in the quadruple murder were all found unlived in the most horrible manner. Don't y'all find it strange that the 4 students of the quadruple murders, the 4 victims, don't y'all find it strange that the 2 boys that were found dead in the creek, Hudson and the other young man, and Maddie, Xana, Ethan, and Kaylee, don't you find it strange that those 6 students all were found dead, unlived, after a party in the fraternity? What is up with the Greek lifestyle? What is Idaho Moscow hiding? Honestly, these students were out of control. I don't understand when people tell me in my comment section, it's not often, and everyone leaves beautiful, kind, interesting, thoughtful remarks. But when people say, oh, somebody just said yesterday, oh, another grub truck video. The sad thing is people don't look at things the same way. If people don't open their eyes and don't see that the plot was in the grub truck video and in the Banfield stop, Who called the police for the alcohol stop in the Banfield? That's another thing. Were they trying to distract the undercover cops to go there while the unlivings of the 4 victims was happening? There's no coincidence here. And I don't believe there's a coincidence in Hannah Cleare's case. Somebody took revenge, I believe, for Hannah Cleare. The more I research and the more I think about it, it makes sense to me that Hannah Cleare's case is deeply involved with the quadruple murders. I'm sure somebody decided in a really strange way to honor Hannah on her birthday and unlive the 4 students. I think it wasn't the 4 students. I think it was Maddie. Somebody was out for Maddie. The sad thing about Maddie is she was a target for many people. And I find that very interesting. Hannah Cleare's case and Maddie could be very involved as a revenge killing. At the same time, if you look at the 4chan, which I take to be very serious, with David Lott and the other David, Barry, they mentioned Maddie, they mentioned Ethan, and they mentioned Xana. So you have Maddie to be playing a role in the quadruple murders in many ways. The more I look into this case, the more I'm still trying to figure out where Brian Christopher Kohberger comes in it. Because honestly, the knife sheet is a touch DNA. I understand people will say, yeah, but his car was driving around the areas. We don't know why. He could have been going to Queens Road to purchase something. Let's not forget, Brian Christopher Kohberger was on heroin for 5 years. Even if he cleaned up, there's always a chance for him to go to other drugs that are not so severe like heroin. Hannah Cleare's case, I personally believe, was foul play. Even if nobody put a gun to her head, nobody unlived her with a knife, but somebody pushed her to her death. Bullying is a serious crime. I personally call it a crime because as a mental health counselor, I know what bullying does to people. It can literally take you off the edge. It gives you depression, PTSD, anxiety. It can lead to serious mental health issues. So if this poor young woman was being bullied, allegedly, because these are the college students who were saying she was bullied. And I always heard that Hannah Cleare was bullied by Maddie, may she rest in peace, and Maddie's friends. So who are the friends? Was it Xana and Kaylee? Or was it other sorority girls? I hope this case should be revisited. It should be opened. I don't believe that it wasn't foul play. You do not find somebody's body 3 days later in the dorm. It's strange that hardly anyone talks about Hannah Cleare. We know, we are adults, we know that a body smells when somebody is deceased. Are they trying to tell me the dorm wasn't smelling of somebody's dead body? What is happening in Idaho, Moscow? DM and BF did not smell blood, red liquid, when there were 4 people dead in the house. Nobody noticed Hannah dead, and nobody smelled anything. Is that what they're trying to say? Something is not right. And I think they're trying to protect the reputation of Idaho Moscow students and college. The reason I say that is 45% of the income of Idaho Moscow comes from the university students. Hudson, whose body was found in the creek, was ruled out as an accident. Hannah Cleere was ruled out as an overdose. We don't know what she overdosed on. Somebody could have overdosed her with poison or overdosed her with severe drugs. Are we supposed to believe everything we hear? This is what his father wrote. I'm Hannah's father. I've read the autopsy report and spoken with the coroner. Oh, it's the same coroner. Let's not forget. This is the same woman who said a toxicological report is not necessary in the quadruple murders. She's a nurse, she's the coroner, and she's a lawyer. She's very functionable. He said that the coroner and the investigating officers did the autopsy. Hannah died from an overdose of an OTC sleep medication. There's no evidence of foul play. The police officers who found Hannah's body were there because I called the Moscow police and requested a welfare check. She died on the 24th of February and was found on the 27th. Please respect my family's privacy and honor of Hannah's memory. Sir, I do really respect your daughter's death, but there are 4 other students who were unlived. So everything needs to be revisited. 24th to the 27th is 3 days. Imagine this, the father had to call the police to do a welfare check in a dorm that his daughter overdosed in. How come the other dorm members or roommates did not inform the police? Something is fishy here. Something smells rotten in the state of Denmark, like Shakespeare said. Something is not right here. This poor girl, his life was cut so short. Her body was found 3 days later. Does it make sense to you? Because it definitely doesn't make sense to me. 2 boys were found in the creek. Hannah was found overdosed. And it all seems to be no foul play. Explain that. Make this make sense. Rest in peace, Hannah. And the reason I say that it's very possible that the quadruples could have been, different people had targets. Different people were out for these 4 students. But I believe it can't be a coincidence that this happened 1 day before Hannah's birthday. Maddie was the first one, allegedly, to be killed. Unless she could have been the last one. Somebody could have planted the knife sheath near Maddie. Or actually, Maddie could have owned the knife. Or Kaylee could have owned it. They could have kept it for protection since Kaylee had a stalker, and maybe the same knife was used on them. God forbid. That is a possibility. Anything is possible in this mysterious quadruple murders. But this makes more sense. Hannah Cleere, is that could be a motive of revenge. Her body was found 3 days later. They need to make sense out of this because it doesn't make sense to me. May both these victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families. Please like,